All warfare is based on deception, Sun Tzu stated. War is a game of illusions, a stage where the mask and outward appearances are as important as reality and the strength of the sword. A war master bends the enemy's perception, twisting reality and leading them to defeat. He believed that war is based on deception, and that battlefield success often depends on the ability to mislead and deceive the opponent. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu introduces 3 elementary deception strategies. He explains that a commander must always seem the opposite of what he truly is. If one is strong, one must appear weak. If one is prepared, one must appear unready. The objective is to make the enemy underestimate one's strength and make them arrogant. By nurturing the opponent's hubris, the strategist leads them to act recklessly, opening gaps for a shattering counterattack. During the Punic War, in 216 BC, the Carthaginian general Hannibal fought the Roman army in one of the most famous battles in military history. He deployed a deception method known as double siege. He arranged his forces in such a way to appear weak in the center and strong on the wings. As the Romans attacked the center, assuming it was the vulnerable spot, Hannibal ordered his central troops to gradually retreat, forming a crescent shape. Meanwhile, the wing forces surrounded the Romans on both sides and from behind. The Roman army was surrounded and annihilated, resulting in one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history, with estimated losses up to 70,000 soldiers. Hannibal's genius for misleading Roman perceptions was central to this crushing victory. Sun Tzu argued that the art of deception was applied to the location of the army. Secret movements, disinformation, and using decoy units can lead the enemy to believe that their forces are far away when they are in fact ready to attack. Sun Tzu recommended fabricating misleading situations to fool the enemy about one's real location and intents. This can be accomplished by moving troops so that they seem far away when they are close, or by using lures to divert attention. During the Second World War, British troops led by General Montgomery were planning an offensive against Erwin Rommel's Afrika Korps in North Africa. Montgomery resorted to various deceptions to conceal the true location and strength of the offensive. He built a line of dummy inflatable tanks in the south and moved the real ones by night to the north. Moreover, using radio communications and bogus activities created the illusion that the main attack would come from the south. When Montgomery unleashed the main assault in the north, Rommel was taken by surprise, assuming that the focus was on the south. The British offensive was successful and led to the withdrawal of Axis forces from North Africa. The Allied Operation Fortitude duped the Germans about the location of the Normandy landings. False units, inflatable equipment, and radio transmissions led to the illusion that the main attack would happen in Calais, leading the Germans to gather their forces in the wrong spot, ensuring the success of D-Day. Sun Tzu suggested using decoys to bait the enemy into weak positions where they could be easily overwhelmed. This may entail feigning a retreat or leaving valuable resources unprotected to embolden the enemy to hastily advance. Using decoys to lure the enemy into traps. A classic deception tactic is to offer the enemy an apparent advantage, a compelling hook that draws them to a point where their forces can be destroyed. During the War of American Independence, General Daniel Morgan employed a clever tactic against the British forces commanded by Colonel Bannister Tarleton. Morgan divided his troops into 3 lines. He ordered the militiamen line to fire 2 rounds of shots and feign a chaotic retreat. Believing that the Americans were fleeing, the British rushed forward. Their forces were drawn into a vulnerable position between the 2nd and 3rd lines of American regular troops. The American army then surrounded them and inflicted a decisive defeat, capturing or killing a large part of Tarleton's troops. According to Sun Tzu, the art of deception is key to achieving victory in war. Through dissimulation, guile, and mastering the enemy's perception, the strategist turns weakness into strength, distance into proximity, and bait into a trap, molding the fate of the battle in his favor. Divide and conquer. Split up the enemy's forces to fight them in smaller parts. By partitioning the enemy, one weakens their ability to react and coordinate. During the Battle of Austerlitz, also known as the Battle of the Three Emperors, Napoleon Bonaparte was up against the combined Russian and Austrian forces. Napoleon enticed the Allies to attack his right flank, which he deliberately weakened to appear vulnerable. When the Allies pushed forward to exert his perceived weakness, Napoleon delivered a decisive attack in the center, splitting the Allied forces into two separate parts. The breakdown of the Allied forces made it possible for Napoleon to defeat each segment individually, resulting in a crushing victory that solidified his control over Central Europe. Surprise attacks. The commander must be capable of spotting opportunities to attack at unexpected times and places to catch the enemy off guard. Surprise can be a powerful weapon that disrupts and demoralizes the opponent. In World War II, Japan planned a surprise attack on the US naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. On December 7, 1941, Japanese forces unleashed a surprise air attack on Pearl Harbor, throwing the Americans completely off guard. The operation was thoughtfully planned and conducted without a prior war declaration, intended to neutralize the US Pacific Fleet. The attack wreaked massive destruction, sinking or damaging 18 ships, including 8 battleships, and destroying around 300 aircraft. Over 2,400 Americans were killed. Using spies and intelligence, getting accurate information about the enemy while hiding one's own movements and intentions is a must. Intelligence is crucial for planning and running effective deception strategies. In Alexander the Great's campaigns against the Persian Empire, gathering information about enemy movements and plans was essential to his success. Alexander relied on spies and agents to gather information about the size, deployment, and intentions of the Persian forces. Before the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander was provided with in-depth information about the position of Darius II's army, which enabled him to plan his strategy effectively. Using the information acquired, Alexander succeeded in pulling off a brilliant tactical maneuver, breaking through the Persian line and scoring a decisive battle victory. The triumph at Gaugamela confirmed Alexander's dominance over the Persian Empire. Sun Tzu's deception and maneuvering principles are widely available, not only in military contexts, but also in business, politics, and sports. The ability to deceive competitors, create misleading impressions, and use clever tactics can offer significant advantages in any competition. Sun Tzu instructs that war is the art of deception, and the ability to deceive the enemy may be the key to victory. Feigning weakness, setting up illusory distances, and using decoys are key tactics for baffling and unsettling the opponent. These principles, shown in numerous historical examples, are still relevant in many modern areas of life.